Hello and welcome back to the Prime Major Tournament here on HeflaTV 1. This is going to be a best of one between Rex Regum Kion as well as Arcanys. Excuse me, I'm GrandisV, and once again I'll be joined by More Rage Please in this series of best of ones.
Yeah, I never try to go for the full name for RRQ, but good on you, valiant attempt. Either way, looks like, at least from what I've seen, Arcanys should be the favorite here. Taking a look at the odds, yeah, Dota 2 Bastiolo has it about 64-36 at this point in their favor. They 2-0'd IAP, or Execration, in BTS, the Summit 3 the other day, and look very good. They even used a Tinker in one of their drafts. They are playing with a stand-in here, but I expect them to do very well in this playoff here.
Yeah, definitely so, and a node stand-in too for Arcanys. I'm not exactly sure if he's currently with team or without, but either way, it should work pretty nicely for them. The early bans have come through, but unfortunately, since Mighty Savior had some connection issues, we don't have much of a draft to talk about outside of the Batrider and Broodmother bans.
Yeah, a little interesting to see them focus towards that Broodmother this early on. And they're going to take out the Brewmaster as well. So a little bit unorthodox from RRQ. Not sure if these are a little more heavily favored in the SEA scene. Of course, we saw that Axe slip through to the fifth phase, or the third pick phase in the game one. So a little interesting coming out from them. Brewmaster not quite as strong as he once was in lane. But either way, looks like they have a draft in mind. Arcanys going to go with a little bit more standard stuff as of late, taking out the Bat and the Axe.
Yeah, I expect just some pretty standard stuff from both sides. Trolls available, Jugs available, Venge and Lion. I think that's probably pretty likely for RRQ's first pick, but who knows? Maybe they have something else in mind, and that could be interesting to watch at the very least. I haven't been able to see these teams in recent memory, but they are just going to settle on a first pick troll.
Yeah, definitely a strong hero throughout the game. He has got a great laning phase for someone that scales that well. Generally, you see things like, Spectre, Anti-Mage, and the like pretty weak in lane early on. But Troll with that range ability from the Berserker's Rage is pretty damn effective. So also, he doesn't really rely heavily on his mana pool to jump with a couple of nukes there. So he's pretty strong in lane early on. Speaking of strong, Arcanys going to pick up the Vengeful in the first slot.
And definitely is a very strong hero. If they want to just hammer out their supporting duo at the moment for Arcanys, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And maybe they don't want to leave in that line, but instead it's going to be a second pick Beastmaster. Very interesting from Arcanys. A hero that's usually left through the draft entirely without being touched. So I'm not exactly sure what the thought is of picking up so early.
Yeah, interesting to see them commit to this early on, as you mentioned. They are going to look to establish a little bit of map control with him and perhaps deny up any Roshan sneaks, at least from RRQ here. A lot of physical damage already coming out from both sides with the Troll, as well as the Wave of Terror and the Wild Axes coming out from the Beast. It's some nice single target lockdown as well, but as you mentioned, it's a little unorthodox to see it grabbed up this early on.
Yeah, it'll also be interesting to see where Arcanys throw this Beastmaster, but maybe they're prepping to start some sort of an aura strat with both the Vengeance aura as well as the Feral Impulse, if I'm not mistaken. They have a lot of different ways to buff up their physical damage. Or this could also set up for some sort of Tinker and Beastmaster cheese later on. They have plenty of options.
Yeah, they definitely run the Tinker. I was kind of expecting a unit strat to come out, as Lycan deals with Troll very well because he's able to kite him around, but immediately RRQ is going to respond with this Earthshaker, so that's probably going to hinder their ability to go for some sort of a push-oriented strat, even with the buff up from the Wave of Terror, as you mentioned. So definitely look for a potential Tinker pick or ban coming up here soon.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, both sides are getting some pretty strong heroes, even though the Beastmaster is unconventional. I still think that he's worth picking up, but maybe not this early on.
Yeah, I think he's a very good hero in terms of the utility he offers, as you mentioned. So a little bit underrated, but yeah, I'm not sure that he's worthy of a second phase pickup. You're not really going to see him banned all that often. So maybe if they pick up the Tinker that early, however, they do look to ban out the the Beastmaster. So a little bit odd, but either way, Naga going to be removed from the pool by RRQ, so going to take away a little bit of late game. Also, the Hawk, very nice versus a hero that really is often building into those boots of travel.
Yeah, and could be very potent in split pushing away from the enemy team. They'd be able to buy a lot of space with Beastmaster ganks and with Vengeful Spirit roams as well.
Yeah, they do have a lot to buff up the damage from the illusions. We will see the SF going to be banned out by Arcanys here. So synergizes decently well with the Troll Warlord, especially if he's able to get up a blink and take a little bit of the focus off the SF, allow him to get a couple more right clicks off.
It's a pretty slow draft coming out from both sides, but nothing too unconventional yet. Um, let's see, where are the top tier heroes that are still left in the pool? Lion is available, and I'd
Yep.
expect RRQ to probably ban that out. I think that's just a little too strong to give up to Arcanus.
Certainly so. There's still a Juggernaut available, and these are two pretty heavily physically oriented drafts thus far, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see him come out sometime soon. But Tinker is going to be banned, a little bit of a respect ban coming out from RRQ there. Also, of course, with the synergy with the Beastmaster that you alluded to, definitely a smart ban coming out there, and maybe is why this Beastmaster pick is a little bit questionable to be in the position that it is. But either way, I'm sure Arcanus were expecting that to happen if they weren't going to pick it up themselves.
Yeah, this pretty much leaves Arcanus with the cream of the crop available in this second picking stage. Since
Right.
they do shake things up with the Beastmaster second pick, I think this is the biggest advantage that you get from it. It kind of gets under the skin of RRQ and is going to allow you to pick up pretty much whatever you want to later on.
Yeah, and this isn't a total elimination game. It is a best of one. You drop to the losers bracket if you lose, but Arcanus certainly do have a little bit of wiggle room to try things out. And as you mentioned, kind of are being the puppet masters, picking up this Beastmaster early on and allowing RRQ to have to ban, I mean, the most obvious combinations, which gives them still a lot of strong heroes available in the pool. But as you mentioned earlier, both teams taking their time with this one.
Oh, well, as we wait for the reserve time to be wearing down, I really think the Juggernaut would synergize nicely with Arcanus Gaming's lineup, but outside of that, what do you think the chances are that we see some really weird heroes? Um, be it like a Huskar weird.
Well, I mean, considering the physical damage and Huskar himself probably not going to come out, but yeah, I feel like we're just going to see something that's not certainly extremely popular. Maybe something like an anti-mage. Something with certain split push looks good for Arcanus here, but anti-mage usually doesn't build into bots till very later on, so maybe not the best one there. I still think is a chance, as you mentioned, that Arcanus has somewhat of a pocket strat, as they do have the ability to run through the losers bracket even if they lose here, but they are thinking about it quite a bit. So if that strat was already in tow before the game began, they're just going to play some mind games here.
They'll ban out the Chen, so it looks like they just want to have pushing supremacy, and they'll pick up the Enigma after the fact. It is going to be bypassing a couple of other very strong heroes, but it looks like they are just going to go for a units-based push. And although Earthshaker eventually can be very threatening to that, getting up a Blink Dagger is really difficult for the support Earthshakers.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, it was our intuition as we jumped in with that 1-2 from Arcanus, but yeah, into the Earthshaker is a little bit of scary. We saw Miracle pick up a Blink Dagger out of nowhere. It was to no avail last game, but if they're able to do that for RRQ, that should bode well for them. However, Arcanus is going to look to cue the aggression probably pretty early on, so you don't really expect that Echo Slam to have the Blink Dagger to couple with it at that point in the game.
Well then, for RRQ, I think that they could probably just stay the course, but instead they're going to snag up the Silencer. This is going to give them a nice answer to the Enigma. And even Beastmaster ganks to a certain extent, but it does rely entirely on the timing of that global ulti.
Yeah, certainly so, and it puts a lot of onus on the Troll Warlord to deal most of the damage in this fight. So look for Arcanus to maybe pick up a slow or something to kite him around. They already do have the single target available to them from the Venge, as well as that Primal Roar, and even the Malefice to an extent is able to kite around the Troll before he gets up a BKB. But maybe another BKB piercing ultimate would be nice for them, something like a Poison Nova. That'll also add to their push with the Plague Wards. But they are going to pick up the PL here, so very nice pickup, certainly something to see, and definitely not as boring as Naga Siren.
Their mid-game fighting potential is ridiculous on the side of Arcanus. A lot of ways to start off fights with a theoretical Blink Dagger on Beastmaster and Enigma, and their push is also really threatening. RRQ, they have the Troll to somewhat fight into the PL, but no real ways to clear out the illusions outside of Earthshaker spam at this point.
Yeah, he's going to be able to chase down a lot of these clunkier heroes as well. The Silencer, the Earthshaker, certainly not your typical mobile heroes, and the Phantom Lancer should have a pretty good time as long as his laning stage is good. It looks like they will have the jungler, though, in the Enigma, so going to be a little bit greedy, and probably only the Venge PL in that bot lane. Maybe that leaves the Beastmaster over towards the off lane.
Yeah, there are a lot of different ways that they could lane this. I, for one, might like to see a mid Beastmaster. He's a deceptively strong mid laner. With the Boris scaling throughout the early laning stage, and with Axis being a great way to spam out the lane, he can very easily take control of a lot of lanes, even against ranged opponents.
Yeah, the double board is pretty scary, certainly so. And we are going to see RRQ still try to deal with the units here. Overwhelming odds going to be supplementing what the Earthshaker has already. And the Legion Commander is someone we've seen fall out of favor quite heavily recently. What do you feel like about the potential of duel up against Arcanys' lineup?
Right now, it's pretty difficult to actually cash out any of these heroes coming out from Arcanys. I don't expect them to be alone ever, really.
Right.
So that is pretty problematic, but as you've kind of already alluded to, I do really like overwhelming odds this game, and the counter push that it's going to offer might make up for that, although if they are looking for a big counter pushing hero with that spamming ability, maybe go for something like a Wind Ranger instead. I think only time will tell.
Yeah, definitely so. It doesn't look like on paper she has the best scenario for duels here, as you mentioned. But either way, the overwhelming odds certainly helps. The press the attack is pretty nice for the Troll Warlord as well, so helps him to get up those fervor stacks. But either way, Arcanys probably looking for a mid laner, if not an off laner here, if they opt to put that Beastmaster in the mid lane. And currently, the matchups for the Beastmaster aren't all that terrible, so I wouldn't mind that choice.
Yeah, no matter what, it's going to be a solo laner for them, and right now I think the Phantom Lancer can carry this pretty effectively by himself. They don't really need anything in particular. I think it's really just up to them what they want to play. It's going to be an Invoker.
Yeah, so they'll probably go Quasi Exort here and look to supplement their push additionally. So it looks like they're going to go a little bit all in from Arcanys, but it does offer them a lot of control as well with the Invoker. A little bit of ganking potential. They have the Hawk. They've got the Beastmaster. Will probably end up grabbing a Blink at some point. So being able to add the Sunstrike to that as well should be pretty nice. And I don't mind the pickup from Arcanys. Not a great Invoker game, not a terrible one either. So really will depend on his play.
Yeah, why not? It is also pretty nice to have Sunstrike up against Duel, as you can globally help them out and maybe even win some damage here and there. But yeah, I think Arcanys' lineup, it's pretty straightforward what their goal is, and now RRQ. When they pick up Timbersaw as their last, they do have a lot of counter push at their disposal. But outside of the Silencer... What?
Hate it. Just hate it. I hate Silencer in a support role. I think it's super underwhelming, but we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of pressure on that hero, really, to work out for RRQ. If the globals are on point, I think they have a fair shot at taking this game. But Arcanys, they could just deathball this one to victory. It's a very scary lineup to play against.
Yeah, and it's super well-rounded despite having a jungler, so I feel like they should have a decent time in the lanes, and I feel like that's where RRQ really needs to secure an advantage. Maybe they jump around the Timbersaw and go aggressive here. Legion Commander is not the worst 1v1 laner, especially against something like a Beastmaster, so I wouldn't mind that choice from RRQ.
I don't think we're going to see it, but what I'd like to see RRQ do this game is just play this super greedily and go for the Legion or the Troll even on the jungle. Both are doable. Because honestly, I think a solo Venge isn't going to be able to punish that enough.
Yeah, that could certainly be a configuration coming out from them, and I wouldn't mind it. It would give them a little bit more farm on their supports, as you mentioned, and the Silencer, I really hate him without farm. So they will see currently a 5-man movement from RRQ on the Dire side. They're going to have Yabu picking up the Troll Warlord in the 1 position. Gehenna going to be on that 4 Silencer. We're going to have Kumamon on the 3 Timbersaw. That leaves Phoenix on the 5 Earthshaker. And finally, Zot going to smoke up with his team forward with the Legion Commander.
And quickly on the Radiant side, Arcanys going to have Mighty Savior playing on the Phantom Lancer, supported by Leaf on the Vengeful Spirit. I've seen that name before, but I cannot for the life of me pronounce it. Boombox going to be playing on the Enigma. Beastmaster going to be played by Buck, and Heinrich on the Invoker. 5-man rotation is going to get their smoke popped. The Venge has no idea about this, but for now, Venge is going to be safe, as is the PL. RRQ just going to exert some dominance over the enemy woods and place some wards to block out Enigma's camps.
Yeah, it's a worthy investment thus far, but expect some sentries to be out here, excuse me, in the safe lane for the Radiant side. Do we have any on to Boombox Enigma? Yeah, he's got two, so as long as he guesses right, and these wards are in pretty normal positions, so he should be able to deward those here properly.
There is no way that he can completely free up his jungle, and honestly, this large camp is a nightmare to actually deward. With both the small camp and the large camp blocked, it's very tempted to think that, well, it's just the magic bush ward, but that's not the case this game, so I'm not sure if he's actually going to be able to succeed in that. It's something we see a lot of teams do up against Enigmas, and it's going to slow down his farm mightily, but then again, maybe he could just go over to the enemy woods.
Yeah, he could do so. There's not too much to punish him there, especially if they look to run this aggressive tri-lane. But so far, they're just going to block most of the creep wave, at least towards the bottom lane. This is going to push in heavily here, though, as the range creep was the one to leak through. So either way, it should be able to secure Zot some farm under his tower, and the supports are going to rotate back into a defensive stance with that Timbersaw.
Interestingly enough, the Enigma actually throws the Eidolons towards mid, but he finds his entire jungle blocked. All that's left to him is one camp, and that's Mud Golems. Can't actually do much there. Beastmaster up towards top, gonna get the screws put towards him by the Silencer.
Wow.
Even though Silencer's support does lack the impact if he doesn't get those levels, his zoning power is something a lot of teams underestimated. Those Glaives level 1 really doing a lot of work.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as you mentioned for Boombox, he drops two sentries, neither of which get a single bite on the hook, and he's going to have all his camps dewarded except for those Mud Golems.
Honestly, I think Boombox should move to the enemy woods, and if not the enemy woods, maybe even go to Ancients. It's not the easiest farm, especially when you get these Ancient Black Drakes, but it's doable. It's much better than just having one medium camp to farm. Right now, this Enigma is not going to be farming quickly at all.
Yeah, certainly so. So he's going to have quite a bad time in this early game. And Arcanys' lineup is just fine to scale, but either way, it's going to give RRQ a little bit of a farm advantage here. And as you mentioned, with only the dual lane here, it doesn't look like Zot is going to be able to get zoned out. He's already sitting on level 3.5.
Yeah, which is really threatening. This is going to give Leech Commander a lot of space to do whatever she wants to. The Illusion is going to be picked up by the Enigma, but yeah, this is probably going to be the least farm you're ever going to see on an Enigma, unless that Enigma gets killed inside the jungle. But yeah, Bach up towards top, going to get Fissure blocked, but nothing else to follow up. That means that the Beastmaster is going to live to see another day, but already, as you've talked about, the Leech Commander is getting a little bit more than this Beastmaster and should continue to do so.
Yeah, Heinrich not doing terribly in mid lane either. 5 last hits, already 6 denies, so Yabu a little bit of an advantage. He's going to catch the melee whirling axes towards Heinrich, but he'll be able to back off just fine. With the extra damage from Exart, we'll be able to harass him up as well as that Alacrity there. But it looks like Phoenix, looking for a Fissure, is going to land it on the right side as well, but Yabu not too far forward. He does catch the range whirling axes though. We will see the Enigma rotate in, and Yabu going to think better of it.
That rotation from the Earthshaker was spotted out by a Radiant Observer Ward, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think that should have actually netted them a kill regardless. Heinrich just getting cut out in a little bit of an awkward spot, but did have backup. So for now, that's going to be just fine. Enigma is going to look towards his own jungle. Has he bought another set of sentries? No. This is an Observer Ward blocking that large camp, so that's not going to be available to him for a long time. Lucky enough, the Sentry Wards are going to be expiring here in just a couple of seconds, so he will have the 4-minute spawns at the ready.
Yeah, which is nice for him. He's picked up the Soul Ring, so not doing absolutely poorly, but still certainly is behind. Heinrich going to catch the range whirling axes mid. A couple more right clicks are going to be there. He's going to Ghost Walk, and the axes will not finish him off. He'll get his salve off, be able to sustain himself in lane. Meanwhile, bot lane Zot going to get zoned out here by the PL as well as the Vengeful, but still doing very well.
Yeah, for now, RRQ are doing decently well in their lanes, and Arcanys are falling a little bit behind, and pretty much everywhere except for the PL, and, well, I think that's okay for them, but they would like to be doing a little bit more. I don't know what they actually do to break out of this slump, however. I think it's just a matter of time until Boombox has his jungle, however, unless RRQ invest in some wards to re-block it. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good use of their time and money. Just keeping this Enigma down. Oh, full 5-man disconnection coming out from RRQ. Somebody pull the plug.
Yeah, they're, I guess, in a team house, but either way, that's a little bit odd to happen, but there should be, I guess these issues should be rectified sometime soon. As you mentioned, Arcanys a little bit behind at this point, but not doing terribly. The Beastmaster has picked up his level 3 as well, so Zot gaining a little bit of an early lead there, and will be able to eclipse level 4 underneath the tower here shortly, but is still pretty low and lacking regen right now.
Both of these offlaners do have the ability to go back into the jungle, but Beastmaster doesn't have any camps at his disposal. So I'd expect Leech Commander to consistently get a little bit more, but that said, Beastmaster, as far as his impact is concerned, as long as he gets level 6, he's still going to be useful. Legion really kind of needs that blink before she's able to set anything up by herself.
Yeah, definitely so. And with the Vengeful Spirit available as well, she's really going to need some backup in addition to the initiation power. So, yeah, as you mentioned, if the Beastmaster is even able to keep almost at parity, he should be a little bit more influential without any items in this one. So slight advantage that way to Arcanys. But Enigma looking pretty poor, only 10 CS thus far. And Kumamon's Timbersaw even in the safe lane is eclipsed the 20 CS mark. He's got a Soul Ring available to him as well. So a little bit of spam potential available to the Beastmaster if they bring over a Disable to the lane.
Earthshaker absolutely playing the sacrificial lamb here. Phoenix is level 1 at 4 minutes in, and it doesn't look like that's going to be increasing anytime soon. I do like that they are giving some extra space to the silencer, because even a level 1 Earthshaker is offering the fissure, and that's a pretty darn good spell.
Yeah, definitely if you were going to allocate one more farm to one of the support, silencer should be the choice. And we will see a reconnect from the full lineup of RRQ almost simultaneously here, so get back into the game.
Well, it looks like RRQ, we're not aware that Arcanys still stuck around, so hopefully there's no major issues going on, but for now we're going to go ahead and get the good to go.
Yeah, and the Legion does eclipse level 4 bottom lane, so we'll be a little bit ahead. He's going to drop an overwhelming odds over onto Mighty Savior. Catches a tower hit as well, but he'll be just fine to sustain in lane. Couple boars coming out to harass the Timbersaw in the top lane, but no kill potential from either side, really. Pretty stagnant early game thus far.
Although boars are really annoying for most heroes, Timbersaw with 2 points up in the reactive armor, these boars do nothing. So yeah, unfortunate for the Beastmaster. He can't actually put any pressure onto Kumamon.
Yeah, mid lane they aggressed over onto Heinrich, but the Fisher lands on the north side, unfortunately. So Yabu not wanting to dive too deep under that tower. And once again, Phoenix going to commit himself over to this mid lane. Does finally find a Hawk for his troubles, but still only level 1.
Yeah, Yabu has been playing very, very passively on this Troll Warlord. As far as his playstyle, he's very reserved, which is interesting, I suppose. Usually trolls would have gone for that dive. He's gonna get cold snap, but the melee axes land in Heinrich, so for now it's pretty much an even blow. This laning stage very, very stagnant when it comes to rotations. Kind of to be expected when you're dealing with an Enigma.
Yeah, he does pop his regen rune here, so he will be able to spam out the nuke, and hopefully he does go for a dive sometime soon. But he's going to need a set of dust at least, or some sort of detection to go forward onto Heinrich. And they will rotate the Earthshaker back up towards top lane for now, and they're postured up pretty deep behind the tower. A couple boards going to get cleaned up by Kumamon. Maybe they look to take down this tier 1.
Yeah, and I don't think there's much that the Beastmaster can do. He can pull off the creep aggro every once in a while with the throw of his axes. But as far as his ability to actually survive against the combo from RRQ, it's just not there at all. If he gets Fissure blocked off and eats the Timbered Chain Whirling Death to the face, that's going to absolutely shred him. Leech Commander down towards bottom, gets Magic Missiled up, they have a Sunstrike flying through, but it's not even needed. Boombox gets the last hit.
Yeah, maybe the Midnight Pulse sticking there. Not sure I got that, but either way, rotation in from the river from Boombox was nicely placed there, and they jump in first with the Vengeful. So nice pickup there, and Bach surviving longer than the Legion. A little bit odd, but he's going to get perhaps pincered in by Gehenna. Not going to rotate towards that mid lane. Heinrich maybe in a bit of trouble. Maybe they're looking for a courier snipe, but it is flying at this point. Just going to find the ward here, give them a little bit more information about the Invoker's positioning.
Even after such a terrible start for Boombox when it comes to the camps they had available to him, he's made a nice recovery, but oh, the dive in mid. They find the Invoker very easily too. Shouldn't have looked away even for a second. That's when they decided to go, and that's when they'll get the kill. 1-1, they're going to tie up the kill score.
Yeah, just a melee or range whirling axis to slow him, and then the melee with the last word. Top lane, Bach gonna get blocked by the Fisher, and Timber Chain through with the chakram. One more right click is gonna be there from Phoenix of all heroes. He'll pick up his level 3 there, and a nice engagement, couple of engagements across the map, going RRQ's way.
Yeah, and even though Arcanys got the first blood on the Enigma, that doesn't make up for the fact that his early game was so slow, and I think RRQ are more than happy with the events that have transpired currently, with a slight advantage in net worth as well as experience.
Yeah, and even though he picks up the kill, the aggressive nature of a lot of these heroes, the Timbersaw, the Troll Warlord, and even the roaming Earthshaker, has forced the Enigma to kind of show his presence in most of these lanes, so he hasn't been able to retreat off the back of most of these kills and find farm. He is just now going to pick up that level 6.
Well then, we'll continue pretty much with the current pace of the game, but then again, Zod might get wrapped around upon. Nope, Phantom Lancer going to hold his Spirit Lance, and well, for now the PL has no points into that Phantom Rush, so getting the kills is not the easiest as far as being able to chase down that, excuse me, Leech Commander is a pretty darn fast hero. It's a build that's fairly standard, at least from the Phantom Lancers that I have seen, mostly because in the laning stage, that Phantom Rush is quite annoying when you're dealing with creeps.
Yeah, certainly so, but either way, we are going to see a pretty stagnant little interval here. Bach needs to pick up his Primal Roar and should be able to do sometime soon as this creep wave encroaches upon his tower. But the Timbersaw doing very well, already sitting on level 8, highest on the CS board, even above the PL. Picked up his full set of Arcane Boots and does have 1,300 gold available to him in addition.
Yep, well then we're just kind of chilling as we wait for something to happen. RRQ are pretty comfortable just chilling and farming up, especially when they can mop up such a stack, which Kumamon is going to get the majority of the last hits from.
Yeah, so he's doing well on the Timber. We'll see what he opts for in terms of his build early on if he rushes the Bloodstone. But either way, should be able to hit critical mass fairly soon here. He's going to look to wrap around, and he is going to run into Bach here as he jumps towards the shop. Looks like he was pinged out briefly by the Enigma, but he'll be able to rotate back to safety with that Timber Chain, and he'll even pick off a Hawk on the way.
Yeah, pretty easily done. Now we'll go back up to the high ground and go back to the lane. Leaving the lane really doesn't lose anything for RRQ. It's just a little bit of extra space for the Silencer, which is definitely not a bad thing. But they do have that global at the ready. Maleficent mid. There is going to be some nice damage thrown into the Troll, but that global is going to be a complete cock block for Arcanys. Now the turnaround might be real. Magic Missile into Yabu. They do have an Aurora, and they are going to drop it with the axes flying through. The Troll's dropping low. Now they black hole him, as well as Phoenix. Phoenix dropping low and is also going to lose his life in a 2-for-1 trade as Venge loses her life up towards the north of that. Looks like that's going to be about it, as pretty much all of the lockdown has been spent.
Yeah, it'll be an early Aghanims for the Timber. He's going to get spotted out with a Boar, but they're not going to aggress quite onto him yet. He actually whiffs a Timber Chain, and still no one inbound for any aggression. Bach is rotating around through the enemy jungle. His Primal War was expended, though, and if Zod finds him here, this could be an easy first duel win, as he does have his Silencer around the corner. And they will be able to throw a little bit of harass. Overwhelming odds going to increase the move speed of Zot. He'll even stop for a press the attack. He will get in range for the duel, and it will be an easy first win for the Legion Commander.
As far as Timbersaw's item build is concerned, I think this should just be a Bloodstone up for Kumamon. I don't think there's any reason to go for anything different. Even though Aghanim Scepter is a wonderful item, you just don't have the mana to sustain it. Maybe as a second item, though, I wouldn't mind it at all.
Yeah, not sure. He moves swats on the Soul Ring, and I just thought it disappeared. But either way, yeah, definitely going to be a Bloodstone. He should be able to snowball pretty well here. 1-0-1 thus far. Should be able to take down this Tier 1 pretty easily if he's able to bring in any support. But TP's already inbound from the Beastmaster. We'll have the Roar up very soon. Very short cooldown.
Overwhelming odds going to land in mid, and the Invoker is going to be forced to play a little bit more defensively for now. Up until this point, the Invoker really hasn't been able to accomplish much other than avoid dying to the Troll, which I suppose is a feat in and of itself, but not really worth any merit. We still haven't seen Arcanys be able to put together their unit-based push and really put any pressure onto the enemy side of the map at all. Tier 1s all around looking pretty healthy, with the exception of the one down towards bottom, but the safe lane, or rather off-lane Tier 1 tower for the Dire is really very unimportant.
Yeah, certainly so. Top lane, Primal Roar. Sunstrike is going to be there as well onto Kumamon. He does have a chain, but he's Maleficed up. Magic Missile will be their big kill going the way of Arcanys, highest worth target on RRQ, and they'll look to mount a push with these Eidolons available to them.
Out of nowhere, Boombox has found himself a dominating spree. Somehow he's managed to get every last hit from each of these kills, and, well, the Enigma is fully online. He has the mech, and, well, looks like they are going to be able to put up that tower pressure now, with the Eidolons now spreading, and I think they'll just be able to take it. The Earthshaker's over by the sidelines, but Phoenix needs to be careful. He'll get Magic Missiled up by the Vengeful Spirit. No further follow-up, but that should be enough to zone him out.
Yeah, Mighty Savior is going to take that tier 1 in the off lane, and they'll pop the glyph here as it was refreshed for the safe lane, but it's going to be forfeit as well, so a nice little set of engagement going the way of Arcanys, and no trade inbound for RRQ.
No immediate trade, at least. Troll was left with some alone time with that tier 1 tower in mid. That's exactly what Troll's like. But then again, it's not down yet, but not comfortable either, at about a quarter HP.
Yeah, he's got the full Yasha picked up as well at about the same time that the Yasha's picked up by Mighty Savior's PL. He'll throw a Lance into Zot, but Zot doing fairly well here. It does have just the bottle and the treads, however, still quite a ways away from any significant item progression.
For his counterpart, the Beastmaster on the enemy side, Bach's going to go ahead and snag up a completed medallion for him. However, Maleficent over in the sidelines, they found themselves a very easy pick-off onto the Silencer. Just the Eidolon Army as well as the Forge Spirit was all that they need to mop it up. Timbersai is going to fly through and pick up a lot of gold on his way there. But in the end, still great for Arcanys. Kumamon is going to have that Bloodstone finished very shortly, however, and probably one of the fastest ones you're going to see. Not very often that Timbersai gets safe lane farm.
Yeah, PL left completely unchecked. Is going to opt for an early Vlad, so a little bit of the early game potential there. He's going to run right into the Troll Warlord, though. Does have his W available to him and is going to be able to get off. And they're going to look to bring him down with the Magic Missile, the Minus Armor, and the Phantom Rush. They're able to chase down the Troll. And that's a very nice turnaround going Mighty Savior's way and a big kill for him. They won't split too much XP. Maleficent goes out mid lane onto Zod. He'll be able to purge it off with the press the attack. And last word, going to zone back Boombox. Heinrich also pretty low on mana, but there is a wraparound from the side. Primal Roar, Sunstrike, going to finish off the Silencer, and the overwhelming odds going to be dropped onto 2 from Zot. It will be able to allow him to retreat. Kumamon rotating him with the chains, not going to land on anyone, and the duel not going to be popped onto Bach. They will rotate in another, so 3 in here on mid lane, but the mech up is going to allow Arcanys to reset, and perhaps they look to bring down this tier 1 glyph, still available.
Right now, RRQ are losing a lot of momentum. That turnaround on the Troll, absolutely crucial, it feels. TP into mid by the Troll. They'll try to catch some on the retreat with the Fissure on the Heinrich. They'll be able to find him. Dual damage again for Zot. The Venge does make it out towards the north, however, making it a fairly even trade, but they get the tier 1 tower deny, which is pretty important.
Yeah, it's definitely nice, and they're able to delay that up with the TP in from the Earthshaker for the Troll to be able to re-engage. And long-range initiation from them, very nice, although Heinrich wasn't doing extremely well, so not the hugest loss. He was able to purchase up his Force Staff as well. Goes for a little bit kind of a Quas Wex item build with the Quas Exord skill build, but either way, top lane, Mighty Savior going to take a lot of harass here. And he's going to have to jump back defensively. Could be chased down by Kumamon, but a little bit worried about what lurks in the shadows. And he's going to think better of it.
Well, unfortunate, too, for the Timbersaw. Would have been a very important kill on the Phantom Lancer,
yeah.
And there wasn't anything immediately there. At the very least, they would have had the TP in to help defend. Well, for now, Arcanys are going to be happy that they've avoided that, but a little bit back onto the Invoker's build. It is pretty interesting to see such an early point into Wex. But right now, everything has equalized. He does have the double Forge Spirits up and running. The Force Staff first, I can't really knock it, though. It's a great item to have, even on an Exort Invoker.
Yeah, they'll 5-man smoke and maybe they'll look to go into Roshan here. They've got the medallion available for Bach, so this should be brought down pretty quickly, especially with the Forged Spirits as well. They've got some Eidolons even rotating in, so this will be very nicely played by Arcanys. RRQ are privy to it, but it's a little bit too late with all that minus armor. They're able to bring this down super quickly. Fisher going to be just a moment too late from Phoenix, and actually jump to the high ground. Comes up from the PL, feeling pretty ballsy with that Aegis, but not enough mana to chase down their Shaker.
Yeah, if he had a Diffusal Blade up on Mighty Savior, probably would have been a kill. Enigma gets a tower deny up towards top, so the deny count for both sides is equalized. And right now Arcanys are sitting on a decent amount of momentum. With Black Hole as well as Roar up and ready, I'd like to see Arcanys even go for a tier 2 tower once they have that crucial diff blade up for Mighty Savior.
Yeah, they're looking really good after what looked to be a pretty dismal early game for them. So very good discipline from them, knowing exactly what they need to get out of most of their lanes. Heinrich not doing extremely well on the Evoker, but as you mentioned, already has a couple items up. So he is going to be influential in these fights, and does have his Forge Spirits pretty high up in level. So they can cue the push with this Aegis available, although they've already taken all the tier 1s.
Even though the Legion Commander does have a decent amount of damage, most of that was fed to her on a silver platter. She doesn't have that Blink Dagger yet, which is really poor farm if you look at how far along they are into the game, and considering Legion Commander's KDA. She's 0, 1, and 2. I would have thought that she'd be able to farm that up inside the jungle at the very least.
Yeah, especially considering that a 0, 2, and 4 Beastmaster has the full medallion and 1900 gold. And with this bounty rune, he's pretty close to his blink as well. So that's going to be very nice. And as you mentioned, the Beastmaster, just a little bit more effective coming right out of the lane than is the Legion. So really, the only shining star right now for RRQ is that 9 Bloodstone Charge Timbersaw. But he hasn't really been able to get too much done. They don't have quite enough lockdown for him to get off his full toolkit.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Right now, RRQ are on the back foot. They want to wait out this Aegis, and they can't fight directly into Arcanys' full lineup. They do have great ways to spam out those waves, but right now RRQ are a little bit bunched up and can't do very much of anything. Your Diffusal Blade is almost done on Phantom Lancer, and you have the Blink on Arcanys. These big key items should allow them to push into a tier 2 tower. How long do they have left on the Aegis? Plenty of time. About 3 minutes.
Yeah, and they're going to have a Necro book coming out fairly soon for Heinrich as well. He's going to retreat to the jungle, going to be left completely unchecked. And Arcanys is certainly content with the state of the game at this point, not going to look to press the issue too much. Already you see RRQ choked up in their side of the map and postured up pretty close together, so not really finding too much solo farm for their course.
Outside of the one global ulti coming out from Gehenna in the mid lane, which was very crucial in them winning that fight, the Silencer hasn't really done much, and that's not to be unexpected, but then again, it is unfortunate.
Yeah, he's only picked up the full treads as well, and this is really why I'm not a big fan of this hero in a support role. But either way, they are going to need to find a little bit more skirmishes, and Arcanys being very disciplined in the sense that they're really not looking to fight without their cooldowns.
This is pretty much the time to fight, however. You have a blink up for Enigma too, and well, they're going to set their sights on a tier 2 tower in mid. I think they can just straight up take it.
Yeah, full Diffusal Blade ready, Blink on the Beastmaster ready, Blink on the Enigma ready. They should be able to take this pretty much uncontested, and if RRQ jump into these 2 Blink Dagger pickups, speaking of which, Bach jumps forward with the Primal Roar. Sunstrike is going to be there. Silence will look to cover Zod, but it's not quite enough. Phantom Rush will be there to chase him down. TPs are inbound here. Black Hole going to catch out Kumamon, and they should be able to bring him down pretty quickly. He'll be able to chain back, and the Echo Slam will be there from Phoenix, but he'll drop shortly thereafter. Gehenna going to go down as well. And only Bach goes down for 4. Triple kill going the way of Mighty Savior, and already this will cue the high ground push. Only the Earthshaker with a buyback available.
Phoenix ending up also walking into that black hole. He wanted to cancel it, but he'd already dropped his fissure, so he needed to get in range for Aftershock, but just couldn't find the angle to do so. RRQ, it's an absolute disaster for them. Mighty Savior is still sitting on the Aegis, looking at tier 3, and maybe even some more. Kumamon's going to get cold snapped up, and with the Diff Blade, he just can't get out. He's going to be dropped down. Now they swap back the Troll into a Magic Missile. Yabu is also in a whole heap of trouble. They'll blink further onto him, although the overwhelming odds hurts with all of those PL illusions. Doesn't matter, and Zot can't do anything further. Buyback on the Troll, desperately trying to defend. The last word up the Invoker, and I think Arcanys will back off here, but they've gotten so much.
Yeah, it's the right call. There's no reason to sacrifice anything and give anything over to RRQ after expending that buyback. They get a free tier 3, still have the Aegis available, so maybe that's an argument for them to stick around, but no black hole, so why not jump out, get some more farm as RRQ are choked into their base, and they expend a lot there. Not sure why Kumamon jumped forward. Mid lane is certainly not Timbersaw's favorite place in the map, and as you mentioned, Diffusal Blade, a little too much for him to retreat.
The Aegis is going to expire, so Arcanys don't have that advantage, but what they do have is 14,000 net worth and 12,000 experience ahead of RRQ, which is ridiculous here at 22 minutes in.
Yeah, 3,400 gold available to Mighty Savior, so can fully complete up that Manta if he elects to do so at this point.
Yeah, or even go for something different. Scotty could be ridiculous. Honestly, just any big stat item for Mighty Savior.
Yeah, definitely so. They really don't have the lockdown to bring him down. He can easily jump around with his doppelganger in most of these engagements unless they get him down through a global silence. But really still being only level 1, 4-second duration for Gehenna. The silencer, as you mentioned before, has been an absolute non-factor.
Yeah. I think Arcanys are showing us that just blocking in Enigma's camps is not enough to actually lock him down. 6-0 and 4. Boombox has had a good game outside of a really terrible start, and RRQ, they needed to keep up that pressure, but look at him now. He has a Blink, Midas, Mech, and almost a BKB.
Yeah, looking very good on the Enigma overall. He's sitting at second in the net worth above everyone on the enemy side. And Mighty Savior starting to hit that mid-game critical mass. Vlad's certainly paying off early on after all these skirmishes. He'll pick up his level 16. He's going to jump forward looking for the troll. Primal Roar is there as well. Sunstrike going to drop him real low. Mighty Savior picks up the kill and his level 16. They'll Yules up the Beastmaster. He will be the trade here, but certainly not the biggest deal to continue to chop down this Troll Warlord to feed over your offlaner as well, giving it to your PL.
Yeah, I think that's completely worth it for them. Although the numbers are going to disagree with me a little bit. W down to the low ground from the PL is going to make himself elusive away from the Leech Commander. And even with the Blink, she just isn't able to get off that tool. She had no mana because of the Diff Blade.
Yeah, looking at the side of RRQ, they've only got 2 TPs available, one on the Troll and one on the Silencer. Now we're going to see the Timbersaw pick one up as well, so they can look to mount a defense here bot, but with all these units up and the Forge Spirits doing a lot of work, this tier 2 is dropping extremely low and is probably going to go down without a challenge.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything they can do about it. Just too fast a pushing lineup coming out from Arcanys. You're going to have that Necronomicon 3 for Heinrich, and you're going to have that next big item for PL. And I hope he buys something, but honestly, he's strong enough even without spending the 5,000 gold inside his bank, and that's scary. Honestly, just a straight heart and become the tank lord this game, maybe? I honestly have no idea. Nothing that rivals that is being picked up by RRQ. Your troll has an S and Y and working towards a BKB, but that in and of itself is not enough. Mid lane, Deafening Blast going to buy Venge a little bit of space as they roar up towards the north, finding Phoenix. Black Hole catches out too. The Echo Slam isn't going to be enough to cancel off Boombox Black Hole, but eventually he's going to find it with the Fissure. 2 for 1 to start things off. They do get dual damage onto the Leech Commander, but with the Malefice over onto Yabu, that's going to be a dieback. As Box secures the double, Timber Chain up to the high ground. Kumamon going to look for the TP out. He will succeed, but Zot not going to be so lucky as he gets brought down. Triple kill for Bach, and now Arcanys are primed to go for a high ground push.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it was the Scotty pickup for the PL, but either way, beautifully positioned was the Enigma Boombox, and now when he gets off the Midnight Pulse on top of that 2-man Black Hole, and Phoenix not able to cancel it early enough, so that'll get an easy lane of racks going the way of Arcanys.
Yeah, and I don't see it stopping here. Honestly, Arcanys could probably go for another one. They're holding on to a Legion buyback, but honestly, what could they do even with the buyback? They'll medallion up Kumamon and lock him down nicely. Bach is in a bit of a pickle, though, as he gets Timber Chain and Whirling Death to the face. However, Mighty Saber's back into the back lines. He finds himself Phoenix, and now Blades up. The Silencer Global's not going to save you there as he gets cleaved down. The Timbersaw does bring down another in the Enigma, but still cold snapped up. Kumamon just can't Timber Chain through. He's going to run into a tree right in front of him. Yabu is just going through with no answers. Mighty Saber, excuse me. Yabu is going to be dropped down. Ultra kill. The duel. Zot's going to give away damage and a rampage. My goodness, this PL just cannot be stopped as he goes into Kumamon too. The Whirling Death will mop up some illusions and the Yules will delay. But now with the W and a fresh cold snap up, Kumamon, it's not going to be a double rampage because Invoker somehow got that kill. Doesn't matter. Arcanys find themselves with a game 1 victory.
Yeah, and certainly true to history as of late, Arcanys looking very good, and certainly one of the teams that I expect to be doing pretty well, at least early on in these playoffs. A couple of teams certainly in Invasion, Mineski, and Signature maybe going to be a good contender to them, but I expect them to be around very late into this one.
Yeah, RRQ are not out of it yet, but down in the lower bracket, there's already a lot of stiff competition. They'll meet with 5 Eva, or in some way, shape, or form, they're in the same bracket. Either way, thanks for watching. We'll have another best of 1 coming up next, and well, that is going to be, as I look at the schedule, we'll have the Prime versus BIGE up next. So don't go anywhere. More Prime Major tournament here on HeflaTV 1.
GG, guys.